Here in this video, we're going to tackle estimate statuses. Estimate statuses are a great tool for helping you keep your finger on the pulse of your sales pipeline. What an estimate status really is a stage so that you can see how much revenue or potential revenue you have at each stage in your sales cycle. So truly think of it as a sales pipeline. Your estimate statuses might look something like this. First, we might set up one called in progress, and then internal approval, if an estimate was waiting for somebody on the inside of our company to approve it before it went to the customer. Then it might be waiting for the customer decision. And then after that, it's either lost or won. But maybe with won estimates, I have a couple of different stages, like the fact that the job's in progress or that the job's complete. Or I like that final status, billing complete, which means I've reviewed that job with accounting and made sure everything's billed 100%. Now, what this will give us is by setting up these stats, a way to look at all our estimates, and we'll see how much work we have in this pipeline, how much potential revenue is in progress, how much is pending customer decision, how much is lost. And we can look at that at a company and an estimator or salesperson level to help us sell more and better work. Let's take a look at how to set these up. Here in LMN, under the estimate menu, we're going to go to the statuses section. So you're going to open up the estimate menu and click statuses. Now there are two pipelines of statuses, if you will, one for standard estimates and one for service estimates. You want to put that really bluntly, we'll think of standard as design build and our sales pipeline for that, and service, which is sort of maintenance and our sales pipeline for that. So they can have two independent lists of statuses. I'll start with standard, so you can start with either one. To add a new status, simply go over here to the top, click add new. It's so simple. All you have to do is add two things. One is a status name and one is a sales pipeline status. Let me open up an existing one to give you an example. Estimate in progress. So the status name is estimate in progress. The sales pipeline status is pending. So this tells us what the status name is, and this tells us, the sales pipeline status, whether we should count this estimate as pending, meaning we don't know whether it's won or lost, or sold or lost. You'll see some of the reports in LMN have a closing rate, a percentage of closed work versus estimated work. And it's going to calculate all those percentages based on this field right here, that sales pipeline status. It needs to know whether this status means it's sold, lost, or pending so that it can calculate close rates properly. So for example, estimate in progress, obviously that's going to be pending. That means we're just building an estimate. But if I was to open something like contract signed or work in progress, well, that's obviously a sold sales pipeline status. That means anything in work in progress, count that estimate as sold. Or maybe you've got a status called estimate lost. Anything in that status, we're going to count that estimate as lost. So it's just two really simple fields. One is the verbal description of the sales pipeline status, and the other is how do we treat that status or estimates that are set to that status. Is that estimate pending, sold, or lost? So here you can see I've created 9 estimate statuses in my pipeline. Estimate in progress means we're working on the estimate. Review and approve means I could set an estimate once I was done to a review and approve, and it may show up on my manager's dashboard as something they need to review and approve before it goes to the client. And that's where we'd pick up with the next status, client proposal phase. I mean, we're waiting for a client decision. Once the client's made a decision, it's either lost, we didn't win the work, and I could get a little more detailed with that if I wanted. We could go lost on price, lost on timing, lost on whatever. Then estimate on hold means the customer has still not made a decision yet. Maybe they've said, look, we're not ready to do it this fall, but we want to circle back around in the spring, so I'll put it to pending. And then the other statuses, like contract signed or work in progress or work complete or billing complete, those are all set to a sold status. That way, as we're working through our estimates, as a manager of that work, my job is to set the status appropriately so that we can look at our company sales pipeline and see exactly where we stand. Putting these estimate statuses in order is really important. You should put it in from the start of the process to the end. And that's where you can use these arrow buttons. So if I was to click this arrow up, it'll actually move that item up in the list. And I could continue to click it up. Or if I want to go back to where it was, I'll just click it down. And so what that'll do is make sure your list shows up in a very specific order. Exact same process for service estimates, although you may have a different sales cycle. So with service estimates. Same idea, create the statuses, put them in order. They all have a sales pending status. You just may have a different flow or sales pipeline for maintenance style estimates. Once you've got those two set up, you're ready to use them on estimates, and you're ready to get some really good reporting out of your CRM pipeline reports. If you have any questions about estimate statuses, feel free to reach out to us. You've got live support right up here, or you can check us out on our help center or via email at advice or support@golmn.com.